It's the final week of the PUL regular season, and we have a good one here. Playoff spots on the line between the Raleigh Radiance and Austin Torch alongside Saul Yannick. I am Daniel Prentice to bring you this one from Durham County Memorial Stadium. As you see, just in time for the opening pull. Austin starting on offense in the white jerseys. And saw this a revenge game from a season ago, again with playoff spot on the line. Austin pulled off the upset over Raleigh. If they were to do that again this week, it would really send the South Division into all kinds of permutations for the second playoff spot behind DC. If Raleigh wins, it's all very straightforward. They will be in the Final Four as we see a shot to the end zone, and Mary Rippey is there defensively to swat it away from Maddie Cannon, the intended target for Austin.
Great to be with you today, Daniel. Radiance starting off with a clear intention, junking up the lanes for this free-flowing Austin offense, and we'll see if the D-line can be efficient here. That'll be a big opening statement if they can.
Rippey, the one who got that block with the disc. All reset so far for the Raleigh D-line offense. And Torch looking zony defensively.
Yeah, Daniel, our first game in Durham County Stadium this year for the Radiance, and we have our traditional crosswind here midday. So don't mind the choice from this Austin D-line. A lot of throws might be a tough question to ask of a D-line today.
It does tend to get a little windy here. We're mostly hoping to avoid some thunderstorms this afternoon. Sunny skies right now as that one goes off the fingertips of Hannah Betcher. And Austin will get another crack at this hold on the game's opening point. M.A. Marshall picking up for Austin. Little low, but Jamie Estes is able to scoop it up. She floats a backhand downfield to the end zone, and that is reeled in for the Austin score. After the turnover, they do open the game with the hold.
Yeah, I think opening point, sort of a good summary of everything that we're looking for in this game. The Torch, as the presumed underdog here, may be looking to play some high variance ball in terms of running a little more zone, throwing it deep potentially with this downwind direction going from our left to our right. And then the Radiance, the name of the game for them will be efficiency and a willingness to keep up with Austin's legs. That is a strength of the Torch historically, just a willingness to put in the work. And having gone back to watch last year's season finale, there was a lot of loopy passes in that windy game that just fell to Austin hands simply because they were in the right place at the right time and a willingness to get there.
And Austin does always find a way to play this Radiance tough, it seems. A couple years ago, when the game was last played here, the season that the Radiance ended up being champions of the entire league, Austin played them very, very tight to within 1 point on a crazy late comeback. So these two teams know how to put on a show. We get our first look of the Radiance offense. Caitlin Gross has it on the far side. She resets it back to Audrey Lyman.
Looks like FM from Austin. And a lot of help defense downfield.
Lyman puts the forehand downfield. Gross up there. Skies for the grab. Caitlin Gross makes the play. No mark on Katie Backus-Milestrup. Lyman finds Claire Revere. Gross to Barnett just outside the end zone, and then the quick continue. Revere there for the score. Clean offensive hold for Raleigh.
Yeah, that'll look familiar for Radiance fans. A lot of sort of deliberate end zone play from this O-line after it looked like Austin was one step too late on finding deep help on that deep cut from Caitlin Gross. It looked like the Torch came out in FM and with a clear emphasis on passing off cutters deep and creating traffic in the shallow areas. But one miscommunication, and there was a couple of open receivers there, and Radiance unbothered, moving the disc around and creating some leverage on the goal line.
Gross, the pretty good jump man impression on that grab. Could make a logo out of that for sure. So now Raleigh has to figure out how to slow Austin down on the defensive side. We did see them get that turn on the first point. But something that has struggled this team, I think if you could point to a weakness, Saul, at least from what I've seen, has been D-line offense has not always been super reliable for Raleigh. So interested to see if they're able to ratchet up that efficiency the next time they are able to generate some turns.
Yeah, I think the other question becomes how quickly do you pull the trigger on a timeout to put in your O personnel? If the D-line advances the disc maybe half field, they have it in the middle of the field, I would pull the trigger on an early timeout to get this crucial first break of the game.
Maddie Cannon there for a nice gainer underneath. That one swatted away. Nice defensive play by Julia Hoffman. She beats Cannon to that under from Estes. And so we will get another chance to see how Raleigh works this disc. Dawn Colton punts it downfield. Julia Rosinski there to reel it in. And Hannah Betcher has plenty of space in front of her. Trots onto it. Looks like we do have a travel call back. I think at the initial throw from Colton. She did have some awkward footwork as she was trying to get that disc back in play.
Yeah, I wonder if this is a discussion of whether she established her pivot on the correct place on the sideline as opposed to, all right, we got an overrule from the observer. We're likely to have a whole lot of bodies moving back to where they were when the reception was made here.
And I'm sure every player will find exactly where they were when the call was made.
No, Daniel, the way I remember it, Hannah Betcher was closely guarded.
Let's see if the players agree on the field.
Oh, this is not right.
Well, ironically, it seems like Estes, for for the torch is the one telling Hannah, like, no, you were in front of all of us.
Spirit of the game is alive and well.
Truly.
PUL.
So Rosinski taps it back in and floats it for Betcher yet again. And yet again, she's there to reel it in. And so the second time works just as well as the first. Raleigh gets the game's first break.
Love to see it, Daniel. That's a huge point. That's an upwind break. It looks like this wind, we've got flags on the field. It looks like this wind is pretty up and down from what we can tell. And those are two big chunk throws from Colton and then Rosinski with the double score. I'll, want to see me do it again type situation there. Big point coming up here. I want to see a bunch of ace defenders out there for the Radiance, as we may have a heat timeout coming down. But I think this is a huge opportunity to stack a line, cash in this downwind break, and be comfortably ahead in this first quarter.
And it is a hot one out there, Saul. Hot and humid as well, so I'm sure the heat timeouts will be frequent in this one.
I think Austin running with about 2 full lines, maybe 16 bodies for this trip after a long travel. And, if the Torch are able to pull off a win here today, that would be a really, truly impressive feat for their team. The playoff scenarios are not perfectly ironed out, but the winner here is going to put themselves in a great position to potentially clinch the second berth to the championship weekend out of the South. And if the Radiance are the ones to win, we know that they will clinch that spot with a 4-2 record. But for the Torch, this field has not been kind to Austin-based teams historically, and if they're able to pull it off, that would be just a win worthy of a lot of celebration.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the exact tiebreaker scenarios, but if Austin wins this game and Atlanta wins their game this weekend, we'd have 3 teams at 3-3, each having beaten each other once and lost to each other once. So I tried to go and find, I know there was a post somewhere, Saul, that broke all of the tiebreakers down. In trying to find it before the game, I was unable. So if maybe someone in the YouTube live comments will know all the details and can let us know. But yes, it does become very straightforward if Raleigh does hold on for the home victory today.
Suffice to say, there is a mysterious algorithm that'll be involved, just like everything important in Ultimate.
Just the way the founders intended. The pull puts Torch right on the sideline. And some miscommunication, but it works out. Amy Broom there to clean up. I do not believe she was the intended target of that dump. Oh, and then throwing right into Mary Rippey's coverage.
0 for 2 so far on that decision today.
Yeah, Rippey maybe not the weak link you want to test on this D-line. See Annie Bacco with the disc for Radiance, trying to find Rippey, but that one too far in front. And swatted down to the ground by Cannon. Clara Stewart gets the offense going. She finds Carly Garrett. Cannon with the disc once again. Late stall throw finds Estes, and Estes going to muscle a forehand just beyond the reach of her intended target. Looking for Gabby Queena there. Will be another Torch turnover.
This is a big point in the course of this game, Daniel. This is, chance to break down wind. Tired legs on the Austin O-line. They're going to be looking to float out into the lane and help each other so they're not just chasing on defense here. Timeout immediately coming from Jenna Dahl here. I like the choice.
There you go, Saul. You were calling, even on the first D-line point, when calling for when they may call that timeout to switch the personnel on the field, and looks like it'll be here with the full field to go. Raleigh's going to get that offensive unit on the field, looking for this break.
Yeah, this coffin corner has not been particularly kind to the Radiance D-line this year. Just want to see Barnett or potentially Audrey Lehman get us started with either a big gainer down the open side, but ideally just find the middle of the field. And spread things out from there.
It'll be Lyman with the disc in her hands to start the point. And it looks like Austin goes wholesale switches as well. Yeah, I think long points will take a toll on these players today. Torch in particular with the limited roster size.
We've got clear deep help here from the Torch, leaving Jenny way wide open.
We see an uncontested foul call, it looks like. It was Maddie Rowell there.
Yeah, like the idea there. Sneaky little block coming in from the weak side.
Another near block. Radiance run into traffic. They maintain possession for now. Disc with Lyman. They swing it all the way from one sideline to the other. Gross gives it back to Barnett. This Torch D-line has been right there for a run-through block a few times on this point. Maddie Pletsky on the far side. That forehand gets away from her a little bit and is swatted away. Nice play defensively by Summer Wilson. So one tight throw too many for Raleigh. And that one pops right over the leaping fingers of Barnett. Somehow finds its way to a downfield receiver for Austin. Low Guerin with the disc. She finds Meg Duffy. The layout from Barnett comes up just empty.
A lot of urgency from 34 here. She understands the significance of getting the disc back here.
Duffy, great throw to space for Guerin under a tight mark from Way. Torch working that forehand side. Sharu Liu. And that one low, but high enough for the grab.
Looks like timeout Austin before this throw went up. Pretty understandable decision from the coach there, but hate to see that point taken off the board.
Yeah, that is tough. It was Duffy who made the catch, but it will not count. So Austin will have to punch it in again with a different line out there, presumably. That feels like an odd timeout call there, no, Saul? It felt like Raleigh was on their heels defensively a bit.
Yeah, I mean, they were for essentially the whole possession, but that sideline possession, the stall count's rising. There's a lot of red jerseys in that general area, and generally when the disc is 10 yards outside the end zone, you're going to put your best thrower there with the disc, and you're going to trust them to essentially orchestrate that disc into the end zone. So, I mean, both teams understand the significance of this point, given the conditions and how challenging it's been to string together full field possessions. So I understand from the coach's perspective.
So if Austin decision makers are thinking the same as Saul, then Clara Stewart has decided to be the best thrower on the team.
Raleigh out in their zone that they love to throw after a timeout here.
Little give go, gets it right back to Stewart. Now a hammer over the cup finds Estes, and Austin will try to switch the field.
A lot of resources up front. We'll be curious to see if Austin tries to break it open over the top.
Awkward connection on that reset, and then even more awkward on the dump. So the timeout really comes back to hurt Austin, and Meg Manning gives this one chase. That's going to be too far.
I don't mind the decision from LNU there at all, just switching the field. She's got an open receiver. Only thing that we'd ask her to do is maybe just hold the disc a little bit longer, and if she plans on throwing a goal, let her receiver get all the way down there before she puts it there.
Yeah, just a bit too far out in front of Manning. But Raleigh is able to completely switch the field, get Austin back in their own territory. And holding in that zone. Estes slips it through. Some nice holes for Austin to attack here. Some confusion defensively from Raleigh as Austin just open receiver after open receiver. Now just 5 yards outside the end zone. And one more time, nice toe of the sideline. So some confusion defensively there from Raleigh, and Austin really marches right down the field for that hold.
Yeah, that's the trade-off of running that zone with the torch attacking upwind. Radiance clearly putting a priority on keeping the torch on that far sideline, but the torch walking the disc up essentially with short handoffs, and once they got one of those passes through the two elements of the cup, the downfield wings were sort of out of sorts, and they essentially gobbled up 40 yards for free in a situation where offense in that direction seemed relatively challenging so far today.
So the Torch are able to fight their way for that hold. Pivotal one early in this game, avoiding going down 2 breaks. And already it does feel like you're seeing some heat fatigue out there from both teams. That'll certainly be a factor to keep an eye on throughout this one.
Yeah, if I'm a Radiance fan here, I'm really hoping for a clear statement point from this Radiance offense. March the disc down the field, punch it in upwind, potentially a minute or less left on the clock afterwards, and let the D-line salt away the last point of the quarter here.
I thought you were going to say, Saul, that if I'm a Radiance fan, I'm hoping for a little bit of cloud shade in the stands.
Oh, I was going to say maybe a shade tent on the sideline for the team in red. Anything.
We're very lucky to be in an air-conditioned press box up here.
Nothing lucky about it, Daniel. I wouldn't be here if we were outside in the sun.
You might have me there, too.
Nothing like our crow's nest 100 meters above the field here.
That is the one downside. We are quite far away, so please do forgive me if I get any names wrong, especially on the Torch side. A little hard to identify players from as far away as we are, but we will do our best. Barnett gets the centering pass for Raleigh. Gives it right back to White. Barnett finds Bacchus Milester for a nice gainer. And Hoffman gets it right back to Bacchus Milester. Revere finds space. A decisive forehand against the grain finds Bacchus Milester, now back with Lyman. Barnett was cutting across the front of the end zone with no defender really on her, but Radiance unable to find her. Lyman just outside the end zone. And Hoffman wriggles free. Clean hold from the Raleigh offense.
Pardon the pun, Daniel, but just what the doctor ordered, my friend. That's a great-looking possession, everybody getting involved. Barnett cracking that junk defense wide open with a really nice pass through about 4 different defenders to force the transition from Austin, and then traditional end zone offense. Barnett maybe open for a goal a few seconds earlier, but the game management just clear from this veteran squad, looking off the open goal, swinging it around a few extra times to kill a little extra clock. I'm sure that's what was going on there.
Very, very savvy. But, that has been a staple of this Raleigh team really all season long. When their offense is clicking, it looks very, very difficult to stop. As we saw there, working like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, a real willingness to break the mark that point I thought was the key, both inside and around. Big point coming up here.
Yeah, you'd think in all likelihood the final point of the quarter, and if you're able to win those final points of the quarter, they really can add up over the course of a game.
Bricked pull. Hate to see it.
Short and out of bounds. So Austin will get to start right in the middle of the field. Here is Stewart. Stewart gets it back from Estes. Cannon. And that one floating, looking for Estes. Can she keep the feet in? Yes, she can. That's a quick score for Austin. And by our clock, well-timed as well. I think that will be the final moment of action for the quarter. So, nice job offensively. I think maybe not the defense, or really not the situation Raleigh was looking for with that short pull. Really gave Austin a big leg up there. And they take advantage. Make this one 3-3 as we head to the second quarter. As we wait for the start of the second quarter, we would like to take this moment to thank some of our sponsors. The Discraft Ultrastar is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. This live broadcast, the Premier Ultimate League, is brought to you by Breakmark Ultimate Apparel. Go to breakmark.com to place your next custom team order or check out the PUL Athlete collab shops. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. The PUL is a 501c6 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you consider donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Head to premierultimateleague.com to donate today. Just a couple of moments away from the second quarter. Raleigh 3, Austin 3 in this pivotal game for both teams, and as they're both looking forward to playoff weekend. We've gone over it a bit through the first quarter, but if Raleigh wins, they are in. And then if Austin wins and Atlanta loses this weekend, then Austin is in via head-to-head tiebreaker over Raleigh. But if Austin wins and Atlanta wins, then it gets a little confusing and complicated. But it is always fun to have your regular season come down to the final game, Saul. You know, it feels like the playoffs are already here.
Absolutely. This is what could be viewed as essentially a quarterfinal in the season of the PUL.
Spoke with Raleigh head coach Jenna Dahl ahead of the game. That was exactly what she said about the team's mindset for this game. And A little spicier based on the history between these two teams. Austin knocking Raleigh out of the playoffs at this same week a season ago. And it's Raleigh on offense. They did get one break to Austin's none in the first quarter. We'll see if they can maintain that advantage with a hold to get us started in the second.
More transitional defense here from the Austin D-line.
A lot of contact there late. That was Maggie Rowell there defensively, kind of just held onto that disc after Lyman made the grab. And Gross does not attack the disc, allowing for Elise Frankie for the easy run-through interception. And so Torch will get the chance to break here on the quarter's first point. Duffy finds Rachel Joy Rocha. Low Guerin. That one just over the head of Rippey, but floats too high for the intended target as well. Guerin unable to get up and make the grab. And Gross, I believe, was there to atone for the earlier error to make sure that one ended up in a turnover. Hammer finds Rippey, and now Raleigh's off to the races. Way pushes it forward for Earhart. 3-on-1 opportunity for Raleigh, and Revere all alone in the end zone. So resilient defense from the offensive unit for Raleigh. Fast break offense leads to the hold.
Yeah, big swing right there. Clearly, Austin's come into this game having seen the Radiance getting a huge amount of production from their pull plays with that O-line, and they've come out and junked pretty much every single point they've pulled. Radiance were playing pretty loose on the backfield players there for Austin. Unfortunately, rather than just chipping away with small throws, they looked to crack it wide open, and the wind got under that disc, and Caitlin Gross cleaned it up. After the turn, we see the customary tolerance for risk out of 59, Audrey Lyman, that really opened up the rest of the point, and it was a numbers game from there. Another big downwind break opportunity for the Radiance D-line.
I think Audrey Lyman supporters would argue there's not as much risk when she's the one making those throws. You know?
Daniel, I'm a big Audrey Lyman supporter.
One of the most fun throwers to watch in the league. And, I mean, really the ability to attack the entire field is so critical for this Radiance offense. That throw gets away from Mindy Radicke. I think she's maybe thrown off by maybe a little bit of a bump on the mark. She looked off balance on the release anyway. And it's a short field for Raleigh, and Dawn Colton is there to cap it off. Radiance get the quick break.
There it is, just a off-target swing. Maddie Pletsky in the right place at the right time. And there's number 11, Dawn Colton, playing in her last game of the season, as she'll be off frolicking with the World Games team next weekend. She mixed in just a little 20-yard leading scoober casually into that possession, and then called for the disc decisively to get that second break of the game for Radiance.
You would know much better than me, Saul. Is the frolic rate high at international tournaments?
Depends on the international tournament. I would say Windmill is heavily frolicking.
Yeah, lots of frolic.
On the frolic index. Yeah, that's about all I'll say about that.
That was all we needed. Very strong start to the quarter for Raleigh. Fans have to be frolicking in celebration, I'm sure.
Big point from the Austin offense here. Again, they're running shorter lines than the Radiance. They've traveled. This is the type of situation where you really see what they're made of in terms of their fitness and in terms of their efficiency. The hot conditions, like the Torch, are not going to be unfamiliar with hot conditions. It's even hotter in Austin than it is here. But at the end of the day, if you're going out there for another point in a row, it's a challenge.
it is just so difficult to be the road team in this league. I don't have the numbers, but I don't imagine away teams' winning percentage is very high. Nice grab in traffic to save possession, but then the throw right out of it goes straight into the turf. It'll be another break chance for Raleigh.
LNU in a little bit of trouble here.
Yu gets open strike, and then the quick continue to the end zone. Finds Meg Manning for the score, so Raleigh starting to string them together.
All right, LNU, she was in trouble, and then all of a sudden she became the trouble the rest of that point. Hit a little hesitation move on this up line. More backfield trouble for the Torch. Claire Hackle set a strong mark on the sideline, forced the reset back towards the middle where there were multiple players, and one throw later it's a turn and Radiance counterattack. Looks like this is another heat timeout potentially.
It's tough to have a heat timeout without really a legitimate reprieve from the sun. I have to say, I feel for both teams out there. I remember, this is dating me a little bit, my last college nationals that I attended, 2019.
As a player, I'm sure.
No, never as a player, but often as a reporter, which is a fun way to do nationals as well. But college nationals were in Texas that year, Round Rock for D1, and the heat timeouts were plentiful. And I remember I have this lasting memory of the Brown men's team, just as every heat timeout, just immediately in the shade, ice all over them. So hopefully our players are able to find a little bit of reprieve from the heat out here today. Summer did hit the Raleigh-Durham area with force this week after really just a delightful, elongated spring until that. If this game had been a week ago, it would have been, highs in the mid-70s, I think.
It's been lovely.
But as you said, Saul, the heat and humidity will be no stranger to Austin.
The humidity is a potentially new ingredient for them. Having played in Austin a number of times myself, the prevailing experience is you finish warm-ups and you simply can't speak because there's no liquid left in your mouth or in your throat at all. You just feel like you're, I don't know, one of those SpongeBob characters whenever you're outside of the water.
Incredible reference. Back underway. Raleigh sends the pull. So let's see how Austin can find a way to solve the offensive woes to this point in the quarter. Clara Stewart nearly has it snatched away on a huge bid from Colton, but Guerin was there to save it. Bit of a punt, but Guerin was the furthest player down the field, but Betcher there to get in the way. I thought Guerin was going to be able to make that play and save the punt.
Yeah, good-looking shot.
Manning gets it right up the gut from Ginny Riedel. Riedel swings it over to Carmen Tormey. Natalie Baumgarten finds Colton, and Colton puts it for Rippey, but just a bit too far out in front.
Really nice, really nice inside forehand from Carmen Tormey there to get the offense back on track, and after Ginny Riedel facilitated a nice off-the-line action. See if the Radiance can stop the initial movement from the Torch again. They've done a good job taking away the under on that first throw of the possession.
And there it is again. Nice heads-up play by Manning. Good positioning. So Raleigh takes it back with a shorter field to work with this time. Colton pushes it for Betcher, makes a nice one-handed grab, and then they continue to Baumgarten for the score. Raleigh keeps it all Radiant so far in the second quarter.
All right, Daniel. The question now in my mind is, what's the counterpunch here from the Torch? The Radiants are clearly coming out with handler sags in the lanes and fronting the pull play, just trying to take away the middle of the field, it seems. And now, question in my mind is there a huck play or a counter play where they look to attack the sideline, or potentially a handler attacking up the field, running these sort of clearing plays with a cutter cutting down the middle lane hasn't been effective, and the Torch offense is clearly most effective when they're connecting cutter to cutter and getting sort of bodies down the field so they can attack the middle of the field, sort of in that seesaw. You attack a diagonal one way and then you attack it back the other direction, keeping the disc in the middle. So we'll see what the stabilizing approach is here.
Yeah, and this is something that we talked with Primo Ramos, the Torch head coach, before the game. Last game out for Austin, tough defeat to the DC Shadow. Game got away from them early, and he said that the big issue there was once the team fell behind a little bit, they got out of those sets. So it'll be curious to see if they're able to rely on what they do know, what they are comfortable with here, if they start to press a little bit as Raleigh starts to open up this advantage a little bit. It'll be you on the pull for Raleigh. So far, Raleigh pushing Austin backwards. Marshall gets some yards, though. But that one just off target from Broom. Trying to find Gilbert. Unforced turnover that time from Austin.
I'm going to look for another timeout here, Daniel.
They won't take it here as that one goes off the fingertips of Annie Bacco as she was trying to toe the line. So Austin has another chance to end this Radiance run, but it does not last long. That throw off the sideline goes straight into the ground. Getting a little sloppy out there. That one off the hands of you, but then the punt goes up too early. Was that 3 or 4 straight throws that have been turnovers?
Yeah, the flags are whipping now. This is the downwind end zone, and we're going to see Austin coming back out into sort of a soft junk defense. And timeout, Raleigh.
There is the timeout to get the offense out on the field to try to better weather this wind. First point that I can remember that we've really seen like this. We've certainly had a handful of points that have gone back and forth a little bit, but the highest density of turnovers on a point so far.
Yeah, I think that's potentially a product of both a tired Austin offense and a D-line out there for the Radiance with fewer drivers of the offense. LNU trying to go essentially every other there and getting a little bit stuck on that sideline, getting handcuffed by a low reset throw. Chance for the Radiance offense to make a statement here, sort of put this game not necessarily out of reach, but an upwind score here after the timeout would put them up 8-3 and just significantly in control with them pulling back downwind.
And I have to say, I do really like the aggressive use of the the timeouts for Raleigh. I think that's something that they were maybe at other points of the season a little hesitant to do in certain situations. But with just under 5 minutes left in the second quarter, they've already used 2 first-half timeouts. Sliding grab from Hoffman. It looks like we might have a pick call, though, that could give this back.
Great work from Barnett to get free in the middle of the field. Backus Mousetrap really stuck in a high stall situation on that low sideline.
Revere wants the big backhand, looking for a way. Plenty of space for her to make that play. And Earhart to the end zone for Hoffman. So the substitutions work out perfectly for head coach Jenna Dahl. The Raleigh O-line walks it right down. They punch in the break.
Real statement possession there from the Raleigh offense. Barnett getting loose, high stall on the reset. Then Revere catching it under against Guerin. Lets loose her big backhand hook for Jenny Way. This year, we've seen Jenny Way operating a lot out of the backfield, and then a few times a game, she'll take an adventure down the field and take that reset defender into a very unfamiliar space, and that time it was a highly effective decision, and Karen Earhart with the nice, stable around backhand for the payoff.
Julia Hoffman, been a real standout this year for Raleigh, her first year on the team. Been fun to see her role grow over the course of the season. And Karen Earhart, first year with the Radiance as well. And that feels a little weird to say considering how long she's been a standout for Raleigh Phoenix, the local club team. Austin really in desperate need to figure out something offensively, lest this one really get away from them before halftime. Nice job by Estes to run that one all the way down. Claire Hackle was lurking.
Looks like we got a foul call off the disc. Radiance having a lot of success helping off of the secondary reset, and the Torch struggling to throw that full field swing pass with any sort of zip through this wind. So we've seen Carmen Tormey do it a number of different times, sort of creating some traffic and then crashing down as the primary reset clears out. And that thrower looking a little bit bewildered, thinking they had a wide open player.
This backhand play with Marshall. Stewart breaks the mark, but Colton catches up on the air bounce. Colton is going to contend that she had that one first. I thought Gilbert made the play in time.
Not the first time we've seen Dawn make this contention. And she's awarded the disc by the observer.
Okay, the observer disagrees with me, so Raleigh, after the interception from Colton. Now, quick work on that one right off the hands of Manning. So Raleigh with a rare missed break opportunity this quarter. They've been hyper efficient with them since the first quarter break. And that one turns over a little bit on Estes, doesn't get the space downfield to connect with Cannon.
Not a bad look, though. This wind is really whipping, and yeah, we're going to see the disc come in all the way up here where the throw went out.
Riedel was looking for Colton, but didn't get the necessary edge on that release to get it to come back in bounds.
Anytime you deprive Dawn of the opportunity to make a play on the disc in the air, that's a tough mistake to make.
Radicke trying to get it off the sideline. That one throws into the middle. A lot of players there, but Tormey there to make sure it ends up on the ground for a turn. Manning uncorks a big forehand downfield, looking for Betcher. Yes! The trademark one-handed snare gets another break for Raleigh.
Fantastic line of scrimmage defense from multiple Raleigh Radiance players there. All started with Carmen Tormey denying the upline, and the trapping mark just allowing no options off of that sort of deadly sideline that we've seen the disc stick on. And I think a point that the Radiance D-line is going to feel really good about. Meg Manning getting the disc out in space and putting it on a platter for number 24, Hannah Betcher.
Betcher feels like one of those players where once she has a step or two, it feels like the only chance of her not scoring is if the throw is off the mark. And that forehand put from Manning was right on the mark.
Yeah, particularly in those transitional type of spaces where the game is no longer about structure and angles, and it's more about just attacking a space and the thrower understanding where to put the disc. Hannah's got lethal speed in that situation.
So after 6 goals were split evenly in the first quarter, we've now got 6 goals scored in the second. They've just all been scored by the Raleigh Radiance this time around.
Beautifully put, partner.
Minute 30 left in the second period for Torch to get something on the board. But it has been all Raleigh since the first intermission. It looks like, based on the timing here, another heat timeout that we are coming out of. You on the pull once again for Raleigh. And that one sails well out of bounds. It'll be Sharu Liu getting the offense started for Austin. Longtime Austin area Ultimate player. Was on the team the last time Texas Melee made the national championship. Back in 2018, I believe that was. So it would have been a big nationals for you.
Was that the Schmaltz year?
Yes.
17.
17, okay. Yes, that makes sense. As we see this one go up in the air. McKee there defensively for Raleigh. That's just hung up a little bit too long. Rachel Joy Rocha had steps, but too much float allowed the defender to get back in on the play.
I think it's the right look, though. At the end of the day, that this has been a challenging place to get the disc upfield for the Radiance D-line, and I think the backfield turnovers have been a real source of pain for Austin. So honestly expected that change in philosophy a few points ago.
Interesting to see how Raleigh manages this clock as well. Under half a minute to go in the quarter. But a quick turnover answers that question as Austin now can hold for the final possession of the half. Lou to Duffy, and then the quick continue finds Frankie. So they don't run out the clock, but they do get on the board. A much-needed hold for Austin.
Yeah, Daniel, it seems like the conditions have been sort of in flux throughout this first half, but that was sort of the approach that I expected more. Maybe you throw out a downwind line as opposed to more of like an O or D line and arm that line with some effective defenders so that huck turn turns into, more of like a 40-yard net for the offense. And obviously, we're going to need to see the Radiance offense possessed for about 15 seconds here to secure the last possession of the quarter.
And Lou will be staying out there. She'll be on pulling duty to get us started at this point. Lyman will quarterback. Swings it over to Gross. And now officially the last possession of the half. Barnett hoping for an option. Jenny Way is able to get open underneath. Way puts her mark in the ground. Holsters the backhand, though. Lyman unleashes the forehand. And back a smile strip comes up just empty. Oh, half a whisker away from a highlight reel end to the half. But as it is, a dominant second quarter from Raleigh. Look how close back a smile strip was to getting to that one. She'll want to make up for it in the second half, I'm sure, as Radiance will take a 9-4 advantage into the halftime intermission. We'll be back with more PUL action after a halftime break.
found the one, you should never give her up. I think it's the way life changes when in love, yeah. I surround my soul with the positivity. That's why I don't worry about the things that I don't see, yeah. These days I don't worry about much. I think we should have some more fun. I still dream about the days when we were young. I'll take a hit and still finish and one, yeah, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. Memory lane isn't that too far away from our hearts, yeah, yeah. The ones we keep close, we should never let go. So tell me who you love, baby. Take a moment to unwind, fix yourself and realign yourself with the world, baby. Breathe slow, baby, yeah. We should breathe slow, we should breathe slow, we should breathe slow. We should breathe slow, we should breathe slow, we should breathe slow. We should breathe slow, we should breathe slow, we should breathe slow, we should breathe slow,
Just about set to get back underway here for the second half between Raleigh and Austin. Julia Zwerzinski sends the pull down for the Radiance. This the final half of the regular season for both of these teams. Trying to fight for a spot in the playoffs. We've got some high drama around the league, Saul, as Indy Red upsets Philadelphia Surge to send the North Division into kind of chaos as the playoff picture is concerned. The South Division could follow suit if Austin mounts a comeback here in the second half, but that turn on the far side will not aid in that endeavor. A dominant second quarter performance from Raleigh opened up a 9-3 lead before Austin scored right at the end of the half. And now a break opportunity to get us started here in the third, but that forehand from Colton for Zwerzinski's off the mark, so the torch will take back over. And that one bobbled and then dropped by M.A. Marshall, so Raleigh will get it back. That's something that has just plagued this Torch offense just a little bit too much, some of those unforced errors. And that forehand looking for Zwerzinski goes out the back of the end zone, so Colton unable to connect with Zwerzinski once again.
Yeah, Colton taking a shot that we like to see to JZ, Julia Zwerzinski, and just overcooked it a little bit in this downwind direction. Dawn throwing with a lot of zip today, and on occasion it's been a little too zippy for some of her receivers.
Duffy gets open and then pushes that backhand down for some nice yardage.
Great D from Claire Hackle in the backfield.
That one goes up. A few players in the area, but it's pulled down. Nice play by Marshall. Good hands. Good elevation as well to save possession. But that forehand from Garrett, unable to connect.
Yeah, that'd be one of the throws of the season if that looked connected on that sort of inside away into that upfield space. But I mean, credit to the Raleigh defense. Every sideline possession of the disc for the Torch has been precarious at this point. And Austin back out in some zone defense on a turn.
And Riedel throws right through the middle of it to get it to Colton. And Colton finds Rosinski successfully this time. And did Colton save that? I think she did. What a second effort grab from Dawn Colton. Tormey toe taps the sideline. Mary Rippey give and go, and now she's going to push that backhand for Rosinski. The field goal is good, but the pass goes incomplete.
Yeah, Rippey just failing to see the channel of air that existed in the back 10 yards of the end zone there. She's gotta factor that into her throwing decision there.
Chaotic possession for Radiance. Comes up just empty on the back end. Not sure what that was there from Stewart. Maybe trying to holster the throw late. Either way, it's a first throw turn. And the give and go, Mary connects with Tormey, and Raleigh is finally able to capitalize on these break chances.
Carmen Tormey's been performing really well today. She's been super solid in the backfield. She's been creating a lot of traffic in the Austin offensive structure, and they're just taking off downfield after a dish from Mary Rippey, and Tormey's been helping drive the Radiance towards the playoffs here.
Tormey coming off of her birthday yesterday, so still riding that birthday high with her performance so far today.
Figuratively speaking, I'm sure.
Oh, man. Maybe it's telling myself that I'm such a square that I didn't even have that thought.
Takes one to know one, my friend.
Tough point, though, there for Austin. Really just, a lot of game left, obviously, but it did kind of feel like they're already in a can't afford any more miscues, and to have so many unforced turns on that point can't be what they were looking for to start the second half.
Yeah, I think the Torch have really struggled to find the middle of the field with their offense, and generally strong marks from the Radiance and smart structural defense where they're clogging the middle with offstage defenders has prevented any sort of connection down the field for the Torch like we see here.
See, quick disc movement leading to a shot from Lou, but that one swatted away in the end zone. You there defensively for Raleigh.
But that's more like it for the Torch. That's what it's going to look like when they're successful.
Yeah, I've had this thought for the last couple of points. They just feel so stagnant so much of the time. They've not been able to move the disc very quickly. Nice snatch underneath. Stewart takes it away from Baumgarten to get the disc back for Austin.
I think that's Yance there.
Oh, yes, Jan. Sorry, you're right.
77, not 73.
Thank you, Saul. And now Torch knocking on the door. Just outside the end zone is Guerin. Frankie drops it back. Guerin stoops down to save. And that inside forehand, just a little too into the middle of the field. Baumgarten gets the block back.
Yeah, great defense from Maddie Pletzky in isolation there to force that secondary look, and Baumgarten comes through for the block.
You tries to shove a forehand downfield, but that one kind of just pops up in the air on her. Guerin getting a lot of touches for the Torch this point. Once again, knocking on the door. Nice move to find the front cone from Maggie Rowell, and Austin does survive the turnover. They get the hold to get on the board here in the third quarter.
That's more like it for the Torch. That's the energetic and fast-paced offense that we expected to see from them. Obviously attacking this downwind direction, but putting the onus on the Raleigh defenders to stop them from winning that open side. We saw Rowell win the upline space. We saw Guerin being intentional about attacking upfield after her throws, and Daniel, the season's on the line here for Austin. They know if they don't win this game, the season comes to an end today. And, it's 10-5, a 5-point deficit feels big, but in the wind, I feel like these breaks are going to start coming in pairs for the most part. So they just got to start chipping away and, get a turn, get the disc to a strong position, maybe burn a timeout, attacking upwind. You put that in, and the game can start to feel totally different from there. So obviously, LNU illustrating for us the significance of the wind in the playing conditions right now. She's a very, very strong forehand thrower, and despite her best effort, the wind just sort of chopped the legs out of that deep throw from her. So we see the significance of trying to score in that direction.
It's another heat timeout, perhaps. I have to say, every time this has happened, I've wondered of the effectiveness of the heat timeout if we're just making the players stand out on the line for longer before we can start the point. But I'm sure the players are happy to get a bit of a longer break.
I think if there's somewhere to go out of the sun, then it's of value. I don't know how the Radiance feel about the heat timeouts without having a canopy on their sideline.
Yeah, and just standing on the turf. Lou sends the pull down for Austin. It'll be Barnett to pick up for Raleigh. What was going to be an easy gainer turned out to be a bit of a complicated one, but Revere is able to make the play all the same. And Raleigh is quickly in scoring position now. Great block on the mark. Jenny Way has her forehand stuffed by Yance. It wasn't, a shut it down block, but enough to push the disc out of bounds. So the torch will have a chance to break. Giroux Lou saves possession. Full extension layout grab. Austin still trying to work it out of their own end zone. Looks like Lou is going to call injury. A little bit worse for wear after that Herculean effort to save possession a couple throws ago.
I think, it's an effort matching the moment. This is a very crucial possession for Austin. They have to advance the disc here.
Later than you would have thought, but that strike there does find Wilson, but then just not an accurate throw downfield. No downfield torch player able to make a play on it, really. Barnett floats it over for Lyman in the middle of the field. Nice off-balance grab from Barnett. Barnett pokes it to Lyman a little bit behind her, unable to save. So Austin has another chance. Rowell muscles that backhand downfield, does not stay up long enough, though, for Olympia Walker. That had been really nice disc movement from Austin until that point.
Torch asking some tough questions of this Radiance offense this point. That's a pretty good-looking throw from Rowell there. And, again, a good example of the Austin offense looking like its best when they're attacking through that middle of the field.
Walker going to take an injury substitution as well. I do wonder if we're headed towards a more full-time out for a lineup switch here.
Yeah, and there we see Jenna Dahl get Katie Backus Milestrip on the field. Doesn't really matter who's coming off, but we need to see a fresh pair of legs coming on during this marathon point.
It is Julia Hoffman that makes way, for those who do care.
I care.
Revere unleashes the full field backhand for Caitlin Gross. Can she get there? No, just off the fingertips. Oh, that was such a pretty throw from Revere, but Gross not quite able to chug it down.
Love the look, just electric stuff from the Radiance there. I'd love to see that go up to Caitlin, and she's that's a very familiar sight to Raleigh fans.
Couldn't quite tell if Bacchus Malstrup got a finger on that. Maybe enough from the breeze of her hand to swat it down to the ground. It's another short field for Raleigh. Bacchus Malstrup resets to Lyman. Crafty forehand release from Lyman finds Barnett. Took him a little while, but Raleigh finally does punch in the hold. So is a point like that a heartbreaker for Austin? We haven't really seen many points where they generate that amount of chances to break. Or can they take some solace in the fact that they finally maybe found a couple ways to slow down this Raleigh offense?
Honestly, I think it depends on the team. I think a strong team is going to be able to take away the positive message from that point of being able to force Raleigh into high stalls, secondary looks. Clearly, the Raleigh throwers' progressions were out of sync with what the cutters were offering, and I think that's a key signal that the defense is doing something effective and forcing the offense to be in a reactionary sort of posture as opposed to going through their checks and every cut being on time. That being said, we're framing Austin as sort of the underdog, but also the team that's their legs are potentially more in short supply than the home team in the Radiance. So a long point like that, as much as you think about wearing down the opposing offense, when you got your players going out there every other point, no matter what, those points where you put in so much effort become of even higher value.
Time also not on the Torches' side either.
Absolutely. Yeah, this quarter has essentially evaporated before our eyes over just the course of a few points.
You get us back underway with the poll. Let's see if Austin's able to put together some kind of mini run to end this quarter. I feel like they're back in it for the fourth. Duffy, big forehand downfield, just beyond the fingertips of Hackle. Looks like we have a call that will bring play to a stop for the moment. It's Maddie Cannon with the disc for Austin, who's, I think, been the most consistent target for these Austin throwers this game.
Yeah, I think Carly Garrett's got a pretty reasonable argument here. She's had speed differential going to the cone, and she's going to take that goal after all. I think McKee did foul her, sort of almost shifted legally in her way, but wasn't quite set, almost like a sort of charge versus blocking foul call that we see in basketball pretty often. Hard to get in that position and be truly stationary in set up in that spot.
And that really was exactly what Austin needed, a quick hold. Give themselves an opportunity to maybe put a little bit of a run together here at the end of the quarter.
PA announcer Luke Mead getting a little bit ahead of himself. Still got 14 minutes on the clock, Luke. Job's not finished.
Loose PUL gets a little bit extra yardage out of that roll. Lyman to Revere. Pletsky. And that one gets away from Lyman, ends up on the turf. Rowell has it on the far side. This one popping up in the air. Earhart will have a play, but a nice box out and grab from Guerin. Frankie makes the grab under pressure from a bidding way. And Austin will call timeout here. Nice job by the D-line offense to get the disc downfield a little bit, but you can see he was starting to stagnate, so the Torch are going to switch up the personnel in all likelihood and try to punch in this break.
Yeah, I love this call from the Austin coaching staff. I think this is their first time out of the game, but Sharu Liu doing fantastic work to drive the disc down the field in this upwind direction. She completed that long swing off the sideline to Guerin, which was, I mean, that throw has been essentially an endangered species for the Austin offense with either line throughout this entire game, and that created an opportunity for Austin to attack in this upwind direction, and Liu's throws have been clearly very, very flat and with a high degree of rotation, all the things that you need to be able to throw into the wind. And now, you know, we queued it up, Daniel. This is exactly the situation that we're needing to see from the Torch in order to, you know, seriously entertain a comeback in this game.
Yeah, must score points. And they've given themselves the opportunity. It'll be Stewart with the disc.
Right on cue, Radiance back in this four-person cup. Whether it's effective or not, it seems like the coaching staff wants to seize the initiative and take away any sort of set play that the Torch had drawn up.
It looks like they were successful in that endeavor. Duffy with the disc now for Austin. And Duffy muscles the forehand downfield. Nice play by Cannon to beat Colton in the air. And Austin, exactly what they needed. They punch in their first break of the game.
Fantastic playmaking from the Torch in this last minute of this quarter brings it down to a four-point game, and Duffy absolutely fearless, reaching with that forehand into the end zone once again. And Maddie Cannon, clearly one of the primary playmakers for this team. That we've seen Radiance prioritizing some of their highest octane defenders on her throughout the game, and she shows us why she's worthy of that respect.
Great grab. Had to high point that one with Colton lurking defensively. And now a very, very big point. And you know, such was a deficit that Austin was facing where they were kind of in these need to score one just so we can have a big point. But they have earned their way here. Another break would really make it interesting going into the fourth.
Yeah, and on the Radiance side, this is, you know, if this is a championship quality team, you want to see them possessed for these 20 seconds and control their own destiny here.
Yeah, I think anything but a Torch goal at the end is a victory for Raleigh to end this quarter. And they successfully do manage the clock. So this will be the final throw of the period, and Jenny Way ends it with authority. Raleigh, they don't want to just see out the quarter. They put one more on the board thanks to Jenny Way.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Audrey Lyman getting loose underneath downfield, and when you got a potent thrower in that position, you know, she's dangerous from the backfield, but when you get her downfield, when you get any great thrower downfield finding themselves catching it under with only a couple of bodies ahead of them, it gives them a lot of flexibility and a lot of opportunity to throw it into the deep space. And no better target in the league than Jenny Way with the disc in the air above her head.
Boy, I have to say, my thought when that disc was in the air, Saul, was that was a turnover. Jenny Way did not have positioning there, but what a play by Jay Way. We're used to seeing her make ones like that. Emphatic conclusion to the third quarter, and we would like to thank our sponsors once again. The Discraft Ultrastar is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. The PUL is a 501c6 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you consider donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Head to premierultimateleague.com to donate today. This live broadcast, the Premier Ultimate League, is brought to you by Breakmark Ultimate Apparel. Go to breakmark.com to place your next custom team order or check out the PUL Athlete Collab shops. Boy, and out of nowhere, that third quarter got exciting there, Saul. Some fireworks to end it. Right when Austin felt like they had maybe got a foothold back in this game, Jenny Way coming in to put a damper on that.
Yeah, the Radiance offense has been, I think, largely speaking, really effective so far this game. They've spread the load. Barnett and Lyman distributing really nicely. Clearly some set plays, trying to get Revere the disc in shallow space, but, I mean, it's all 9 members of that O rotation have contributed to them marching the disc down the field. And Austin's been relatively dangerous when they've gotten the disc off of the Raleigh offense, looking like they've created some scoring opportunities. But at the end of the day, I've been pretty impressed with this O unit from the Radiance, which is in keeping with pretty much the trend from the whole season.
Yeah, and watching their game last week against Nashville, that was, I felt like the offense wasn't clicking at quite the same level. We had seen it at some points this year, but they do seem to have bounced back well in front of the home crowd. In this must-win game, do or die for both these teams.
Yeah, I'll be very curious to see what kind of adjustments we see from the Radiance coaching staff. We get into this fourth quarter with a significant margin that starts to really dictate some of your tactics, and whether that's, our game plan's working great, so let's just keep doing it, or whether there's a change of pace in here with maybe more junk defense or a different approach to offensive points. I'll be curious to see what they telegraph here.
Barnett gets it around the defender to Lyman. Backus Milestrip. Barnett in the power position now, no one going deep. Really nice cutter back to thrower transitions from Raleigh at this point to keep the disc fluid. Backus Milestrip been a cog all point long, and she is rewarded with the goal in the end. Impressive offense from Raleigh to get us started here in the fourth.
Yeah, Torch coming out in a forced middle there, and the Radiance really successful attacking the space, both through the middle of the field as the disc swings, the mark seals. Lots of cutters attacking that space sort of in the right up the gut, but then also Barnett and then Earhart at the end attacking space behind the mark, forcing the defense into a vulnerable position as sort of all the defenders swing one way and there's a counter cut coming back the other way. So more really efficient work from that Raleigh offense.
And that counter cut seemed like it was Backus Milestrip almost every time as well. Several times she come under, quick reset, get right back in the stack.
Absolutely. And in that forced middle, when you hit that shot across the middle, it often leads itself to, that cutter is looking into the backfield as they catch that under, and they see that handler running up into power position from the backfield. It's just a natural action, and it keeps everything moving, keeps the defense on the back foot. So, one of the things that the defenders are going to have to take into account if they continue with that strategy.
Looks like we might have some rain starting to fall based on the reaction of members of the crowd. So we'll see how that affects plays. We see a short field block by Manning. Riedel and you make a couple of quick exchanges. Hoffman tries to float the forehand, but no one really able to make a play on that one. And there was a forecast for thunderstorms this afternoon. The weather has held off until this point. Let's hope the lightning stays away for the conclusion of this one. Block at the point by Poletsky. Stuffing that throw from Gilbert. And so Raleigh has a short field. You paint it up to Hoffman, who walks it into the end zone. Gets up big to cap it off as well. Raleigh gets the break.
Love to see LNU really involved there, and Julia Hoffman going both ways today. She's clearly comfortable with the disc above her head there, and I'll let the fans at home decide how they feel about that gritty there from from Hoffman.
I'm hearing from the in-stadium PA that lightning has been picked up. Within 5 miles of the stadium, which is going to bring us to a stop here. Clock on the stream is about a minute ahead of where we actually are. 9:52 left in the fourth, with Raleigh up 14-7. But weather is going to bring us to a halt. I jinxed it. It's the curse of the commentator, Saul. I shouldn't have even mentioned the weather.
You're a very powerful man.
It will be a weather delay. I'm not sure exactly how long. I imagine at least half an hour before we're able to resume play. We will try to keep you as up to date as possible on the weather situation. For now, though, we will head to a break with just under 10 minutes left in the season for these two teams. Raleigh going to take us into the weather timeout with a 14-7 lead. If we are able to resume play, a spot in the playoffs still on the line.
Missing someone with all your heart. Missing someone with heart. How much you miss it, and you deserve. And you deserve, and you deserve, and you did it right from the start. And you did it right from the start. Missing someone is as normal. Missing someone and missing someone is as normal. Missing someone. With all your heart. Missing someone with heart. Missing someone. I am sad and so down. Missing someone with all your heart. Missing someone with heart. How much you miss it, and you deserve. Right from the start, and you did it right from the start. Missing someone is as normal. Missing someone. Missing someone is as normal. Missing someone with all your heart. Missing someone
Greetings, everyone. Officially, this game is in the books. Raleigh Radiance win 14-7 over Austin. Final score shortened due to the weather in the area, unfortunately. But Raleigh, headed to the PUL playoffs. Austin season comes to a close. Thanks so much for tuning in.